Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. On the question of infallibility of the prophets, alayhimus salatu wassalam, that the apostles of Allah, whether they are infallible against sins, mistakes, and forgetfulness, I need to change this marker. The Shia, we the Shia believe that Anbiya alayhimus salatu wassalam are ma'soom, they are infallible against all sins, whether major or minor. And Anbiya alayhimus salatu wassalam are ma'soom against mistakes, errors, and oblivion, to forget something. So Anbiya alayhimus salatu wassalam are ma'soom. Nonetheless, the Umaris do not see eye to eye with Shia on this subject. They believe that Anbiya alayhimus salatu wassalam are not ma'soom with regard to sins, major. They may commit major sins unintentionally. And the minor sins, they would commit even intentionally, deliberately. They will commit minor sins deliberately. So let's have a look at some of their books. This is Majmu'atul Fatawa لشيخهم Ibn Taymiyyah al-Harrani by Ibn Taymiyyah, volume number 4, published year 2005 in Darul Wafa, page number 195, with regard to the question of Isma. He clearly states that only Shia, on this page he states that only Shia believe that Anbiya alayhimus salatu wassalam are ma'soom, are infallible against even errors, mistakes, let alone sins. Nonetheless, the Umaris, whether they are Ahl al-Tafsir, whether they are jurists, whether interpreters of Quran or jurists, or they're Ahl al-Hadith or the Ash'ariyah, they all believe that the Anbiya alayhimus salam, the prophets, they are not ma'soom against minor sins. And minor sins, they may commit them. Let's have a look at this verse in Surah Al-A'raf, verse number 88 in Surah Al-A'raf. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, with regard to Shu'aib. قال الملأ الذين استكبروا من قومه لنخرجنك يا شعيب والذين آمنوا معك من قريتنا. The chiefs of those who were arrogant among his people said, so the nation from which Shu'aib alayhi salatu wasalam rose, their chiefs, their leaders, they said, we shall certainly drive you out. We are going to kick you out of our village. We are going to drive you out, O Shu'aib, and those who have believed with you from our town. Or there's a threat. If we are not going to kick you out, if you do this, أَوْ لَتَعُودُنَّ فِي مِلَّتِنَا, or else you all shall return to our religion. He said, even though we hate it. قَالَ أَوَلَوْ كُنَّا كَارِهِينَ. Now, the point that you have to pay attention to is here. You shall return, this portion here. You shall return to our religion. That you must return to our religion or we are going to kick you out. With respect to this verse, let's say what says Ibn Taymiyyah. This is Majmu'atul Fatawa, volume number 15, by Ibn Taymiyyah. published in year 2005, page number 20. وقال ابن تيمية. The verse I just recited to you, so I'm not going to recite it again and translate it to you, but I'm going to translate the content, the commentary. ظاهره دليل على أن شعيبا والذين آمنوا معه كانوا على ملة قومهم. This verse indicates that Shu'aib and those people who had believed in him, كانوا, previously they were on the religion of their nation. So what Ibn Taymiyyah is saying is because Quran said that either you return to our faith, or we are going to drive you out. Now, because he said either you return, so it means previously they were on the religion of their nation. They were before they used to worship idols and whatnot. ولقول شعيب أنعود فيها ولو كنا كارهين ولقوله قد افترينا على الله كذبا إن عدنا في ملتكم. And because Shu'aib said, shall we return to your religion, to your faith, even if we hate it? And because he said in another place, if we should return into your religion, we have indeed fabricated a lie on Allah Ta'ala. فَدَلَّ عَلَىٰ أَنَّهُمْ كَانُوا فِيهَا. This is very important. Ibn Taymiyyah says this indicates that فَدَلَّ عَلَىٰ أَنَّهُمْ كَانُوا فِيهَا. The conclusion is that Shu'aib and his people, they were all followers of the religion of the mushrikeen, of the polytheists. وَلِقَوْلِهِ, and because as Shu'aib said, بعد إذ نجانا الله منها. Allah has saved us, Allah has rescued us from being polytheists. So it means that he was previously a mushrik. فدل على أن الله أنجاهم منها بعد التلوث بها. All these verses imply that Allah Ta'ala, that He saved Shu'aib and his people after they were involved in worshipping idols. ولقوله, and because also Shu'aib says وما يكون لنا أن نعود فيها إلا أن يشاء الله ربنا. It's not permissible for us to return to idol worshipping unless Allah gives us such a permission. ولا يجوز أن يكون الضمير عائدا على قوله. And the pronouns and these the pronouns we, the pronoun we are not going to return. We are not going to return. This pronoun does not refer to the nation of Shu'aib only, the followers of Shu'aib only. It includes also Shu'aib. Why? لأنه صرح فيه بقوله لنخرجنك يا شعيب. Because the verse clearly says, Shu'aib, we are going to kick you out. Kick you out. So Shu'aib is included in that conversation. وَلِأَنَّهُ هُوَ الْمُحَاوِرُ لَهُ بِقَوْلِهِ. And it's Shu'aib who is the interlocutor, who is the other part of this conversation. When he says that even if we hate to follow your religion, are you going to force us to follow your religion? وَهَذَا يَجِبُ أَنْ يَدْخُلَ فِيهِ الْمُتَكَلِّمِ. And this indicates, and this means that the speaker, who is Shu'aib, he is included in that conversation and that group. And this is not only specific to Shu'aib, this also it was with regard to Ibrahim alayhi salam. Ibn Taymiyyah says, Ibrahim وقال إبراهيم في سورة إبراهيم عليه السلام وقال الذين كفروا لرسلهم لنخرجنكم من أرضنا أو لتعودن في ملتنا. Those who disbelieve, they said to their Rasul, they said to their prophets, لنخرجنكم من أرضنا, we are going to kick you out of our lands. أو لتعودن في ملتنا, or else that you return to our religion. So, the Surah to Ibrahim, verse number 13. The kuffar, the disbelievers, said to Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam, we are going to kick you out from our lands unless you return to our religion. So it means that Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam was also previously kafir. So this is a clear indication that according to Ibn Taymiyyah, prophets could be kafir, mushrik, idol worshipper, prior to being chosen to be prophets. So much for the isma. And what is the answer to these verses? Because Ibn Taymiyyah has a very, very, very wrong understanding of the Arabic language and very wrong understanding of the Noble Quran. He believes there is no figurative, there is no majaz, there is no figurative expression in Quran. And in many places in the Noble Quran, there is a chapter of taghlib. There's a chapter in the science of eloquence which is called taghlib. Taghlib means if one group of people and there's another group and there's an affinity between the two, there's some kind of relationship between the two, you can include the first and the second in a figurative way, such as with regard to the wife of Lot alayhi salam. The Noble Quran says, إِلَّا امْرَأَتَهُ كانت من الغابرين. The wife of Lot alayhi salatu wasalam was one of the ghabirin, one of the people who was left behind, because Lot himself was saved from the punishment, but his wife was one of the ones who was left behind. Ghabir is masculine. She was one of the men left behind, but she was not a man, she was a woman. She is considered to be part of Ghabirin because of the affinity there is, because she is one of them, she is like them, she is part of that group of who were not saved. And there are many, many other instances in the Noble Quran like that. So when they say that you have to return, when kuffar say to Shu'aib and his group, you have to return to our religion, it doesn't mean that each one of them were previously kafir, because the majority were previously kafir. The majority were previously kafir, and Shu'aib alayhi salatu wasalam, perhaps before announcing his prophethood, used to hide his religion, like our Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to hide his iman from his people. It indicates that when they said that you have to return, it does not necessarily mean that Shu'aib alayhi salatu wasalam was previously a kafir, but majority of his followers, they were previously kafir, previously mushrik, and therefore it is correct literally to address them in this way, you have to return, whereas not all of them were previously kafir anyways. And this is pretty common in conversation, even in English, at any rate. تفسير آيات أشكلت على كثير من العلماء, written by Ibn Taymiyyah. The tafsir, the interpretation of verses that are difficult. Volume number 1, Maktabat al-Rushd, published by Maktabat al-Rushd in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia in 1996. فصل وأما قولهم what scholars have said, إن شعيبا والرسل ما كانوا في ملتهم قط وهي ملة الكفر فهذا فيه نزاع مشهور. The assertion of the scholars that Shu'aib and prophets, before becoming prophets, they were not included in the religion of the kafir people. They were not kafir before. This is a matter of dispute. وبكل حال فهذا خبر يحتاج إلى دليل سمعي أو عقلي. In either way, this, that they were not kafir before, it requires a rational or a proof that's rational or a proof that's narrated. وليس في أدلة الكتاب والسنة والإجماع ما يخبر بذلك. And there is no proof in Quran, in Sunnah, and in consensus that says that Shu'aib and other prophets, they were not kafir before. وأما العقل ففيه نزاع. Aql, as far as aql is concerned, it's a matter of dispute. We can't say for sure either way. والذي عليه نظار أهل السنة أنه ليس في العقل ما يمنع ذلك. And the great thinkers of Ahl Sunnah, which means his own Salafi group, they believe that there is no rational proof which prohibits, which indicates that Shu'aib and other prophets, they were not kafir before. They could as well be kafir and then they became prophets. What the heck? Then he goes in the next page. وأهل الأصول على أن الأنبياء كانوا مؤمنين من قبل الوحي وكان النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم يعبد الله قبل الوحي على دين إبراهيم ولم تبين له شرائع دينه. Baghawi, Mas'ud ibn al-Husayn al-Baghawi has said the following, that scholars of Asha'ira and scholars who follow Ilm al-Usul, the principles of fiqh, they've asserted that prophets, they were mu'min, they were believers, they were faithful before becoming prophets. And our Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam worshipped Allah before becoming a prophet, and he followed the religion of Ibrahim. And at that time, his own Sharia was not known to him. That's their belief. We Shia believe that from his childhood, the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and there are many narrations in that regard, from his childhood, the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, since he was a child, was accompanied by an angel who's greater, an angel greater than Jibreel and Mikael, and his name is Ruh al-Qudus. And Ruh al-Qudus would guide the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam by the command of Allah, by the blessing of Allah, and bring Allah's message to the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and explain to him what to do. And this Ruh al-Qudus is also with our Imams alayhim as-salatu was-salam, and it's an angel greater than Jibreel. قلت وقوله هذا يناقض ما ذكره في قوله ووجدك ضالا فهدى. And this is in Surah ألم نشرح لك صدرك. This assertion of Baghawi, he says, now Ibn Taymiyyah responds to Baghawi against the qawl of Allah, وَوَجَدَكَ ضَالًّا فَهَدَى. Allah found you. This is how Umaris, Ibn Taymiyyah will translate this hadith. Allah found you misguided, ضال, misguided. فَهَدَى, he found you, you were misguided, and then he guided you. So, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Quran says he was ضال, he was misguided. نستجير بالله. ومعنى الآية وجدك ضالا عما أنت عليه اليوم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala found you to be misguided in comparison to the guidance that you have now. فهداك لتوحيده والنبوة. So Allah taught you tawheed and nubuwah, monotheism, that God is one. So clearly Ibn Taymiyyah says that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam worshipped idols. nastajiru billah. He was a worship because he didn't know Tawheed, and then Allah gave him Tawheed. Now, what is the interpretation of this according to the Shia? In our traditions, the Imam alayhi salatu wasalam have said, فَوَجَدَكَ ضَالًّا فَهَدَى. It means, ضال does not mean misguided here. A person who is unknown. The Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was not well known. His position was not well known. The Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was sort of lost. A person who is amongst his people and they do not know his position, that he is a Nabi, so he's a sort of a lost or a stranger amongst them. And then Allah guided them to know the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that he's the greatest of all apostles, that he's the best of humankind. So that's what it means, according to us, the Shia. فَجَعَلَ التَّوْحِيدَ مِمَّا كَانَ ضَالًّا عَنْهُ فَهَدَاهُ إِلَيْهِ. So the Nabi, this is very important, very critical what Ibn Taymiyyah is saying. فَجَعَلَ التَّوْحِيدَ, amongst the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and he lacked is Tawheed. Tawheed. He didn't know who was Allah. وأيضا فقوله تعالى وما كنت تدري ما الكتاب ولا الإيمان يناقض هذا. This verse also. And you did not know. Did not know what is the book? What is Quran? What is Quran? And what is faith? And what is Iman? So this also means, this is another verse in the Noble Quran. This also you didn't know. What is Quran, what's Iman. Then Allah gave you when you're 40 years old, Allah gave you Quran and Allah gave you Iman. So the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, all these years, he worshipped idols. He didn't know Tawheed. Now, this verse also, according to us, the Shia, means from the time before his birth, because since his birth, actually there's a specific hadith with regard to this verse, that the Imam Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam said, that since that time, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam had an angel with him, whose name was Ruh al-Qudus. And this verse refers to that time, not the time that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was older. This was, since his childhood, since his birth, there was an angel with him. But this verse refers to a time before that. And the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was never, ever worshipped idols. وَقَدْ رُوِيَ عَنْ أَحْمَدَ. It's been narrated from Ahmad ibn Hanbal أنه قال من قال إنه كان إنه كان النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم على دين قومه فهو قول سوء. Ahmad has been narrated to say, Ahmad ibn Hanbal, whoever says that the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam followed the religion of his nation, this is a bad assertion. This is a bad statement. This is not a correct statement. But then he comes back and says that Ahmad may not have said this. ولكن قد قال السدي وغيره. Sudi, Ismail al-Sudi al-Kabir, one of the narrators in Sahih Muslim, and other men have said, كان على دين قومه. The Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to follow the religion of his nation. أربعين سنة, for 40 years. He was on the deen of mushrikeen, and the religion of mushrikeen for 40 years. قلت وقد روى ابن أبي حاتم حدثني. It says that Ibn Abi Hatim has narrated on the authority of so and so and so, and Jubayr ibn Mut'im, لقد رأيت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وهو على دين قومه. I saw Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم, and he was a mushrik. وهو واقف على بعير له بعرفات بين قومه. And he was riding a camel with his nation, with his people, with the mushrikeen of Mecca in Arafat. يدفع من الناس توفيقا له من الله. and people would be pulled away from him, and Allah would protect him in this way. So if he was following the religion of his people are being pulled away from him, it does not much really help. وقد رواه أحمد من طريق ابن إسحاق به ورواه أيضا من طريق سفيان عن أبيه ولم يقل على دين قومه. This narration has also been narrated by Ahmad ibn Hanbal, and in that narration it does not include the phrase that he was following the religion of his nation, the religion of Quraysh and people of Mecca. Then he says in the page 186, قال أبو بكر بن الطيب قال كثير منهم ومن أصحابنا وأهل الحق إنه لا تمتنع بعثة من كان كافرا أو مصيبا للكبائر قبل بعثته. Abu Bakr ibn Tayyib has said that a big number of scholars have said that it's not impossible that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes a kafir, a mushrik, a prophet, أو مصيبا للكبائر, or a person who was an adulterer, a person who used to drink alcohol, or a murderer, a person who commits major sins. He says, from now on you are my prophet. قال ولا شيء عندنا يمنع من ذلك على ما نبين القول فيه. And there is nothing that would make such a thing impossible. This is the book of موسوعة العلامة Muhammad Nasir al-Din al-Albani, the encyclopedia of all the works of Muhammad Nasir al-Din al-Albani, who was a very prominent Salafi scholar who passed away a couple of decades ago. Published in year 2010 in Sana'a in Yemen. Page 147. باب هل يأتي الرسل صغائر الذنوب. The question has been posed to Al-Albani. Do messengers and prophets, do they commit صغائر الذنوب, minor sins? He responds, نحن نعتقد أن العصمة المقصود بها للأنبياء والرسل إنما هي أولا العصمة في تبليغ الدعوة وثانيا العصمة عن الوقوع في الذنوب الكبائر وهم يعلمونها. The isma that's certainly proved for the prophets and apostles, it is only that's proved for certainty. The isma that's proved for certainty is only what? Isma, infallibility, with regard to disseminating religion, disseminating wahi, and disseminating rules, ahkam, the revelation and the rules. Second, وثانيا العصمة عن الوقوع في الذنوب الكبائر وهم يعلمونها. Second, كبائر, major sins. Anbiya alayhim as-salatu was-salam are infallible against major sins, only intentional major sins. Intentional major sins. So, if a major sin is not intentional, for instance, out of mistake, he worshipped, and I'll show it to you, they say that the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam praised and said good words about idols. So because it was not intentional, so he could, if it's not intentional, he could commit them. He can commit them. So this is with regard to major sins, such as, shirk, such as lying, such as killing someone, such as committing adultery or sodomy. All of these, if they're out of error, they can commit them, Anbiya alayhim salatu wasalam, as long as they are not intentional. أما أن يقعوا في صغيرة من صغائر التي لا يترتب من ورائها إلا الانتفاء الكمال المطلق فهذا لا بأس من أن يقع شيء من ذلك من الأنبياء والرسل. However, with respect to minor sins, that's fine. Anbiya alayhim salatu wasalam may commit minor sins. There is nothing that would indicate it's impossible for them to commit minor sins. Inshallah tabarak wa ta'ala, in the next session we are going to continue our discussion with regard to the sins of Anbiya alayhim salam and their infallibility.